Welcome everyone after a week of COVID. No clickbait. Discord people know it already. Yeah, can we still do this Linux thing? And also I tested negative today. Also sitting alone in the office, obviously. Isolating from my family. I still have quite some throat pain, although it's like half of the peak or so, and otherwise not much. You might hear still it in the voice, and I might still look a little bit sweaty, although I don't have temperature anymore. But anyway, the life needs to go on, and so why does it say not enough streaming stuff? Looks like zero drop frames over O2 LTE. Anyway, you might wonder, why do we even do that here? Otherwise, yeah, the week was a little bit boring, only catching up with all of YouTube in bed, and otherwise things need to go on, right? We have a Linux distribution to release, and also self-employed here with my company, also theoretically need to continue with that a little bit. That is also not that, but so do we have internet? Yeah. Also, yeah. Vodafone's DOCSIS fail here, and then I lay in bed, and then also O2 LTE failed, so I only could consume all of YouTube with some intermittent O2 connectivity issue stuff. But yeah, that is the internet in Germany. You can't make this stuff up. So yeah, I also need to urgently continue with some urgent business, but not like I would after a week in bed continue with business, right? Not like we would be professionals. Anyway, so we have some stuff to do. I also continued with some stuff. Last time we left off with our fancy Linux distribution. Here with testing all of QEMU. By the way, can you let me know if the video live stream works properly? OBS says 3 Mbit 0 drop frames. Why is YouTube yelling at me? YouTube is not receiving enough video, maintain smooth streaming. Why? It's 3 Mbit. 3 freaking Mbit over 0 drop frames. Whatever, I hope it's fine. Anyway, so we had some win-wins. The previous video before I freaking catch COVID. Also, I hope it doesn't demonetize us, right? Not saying this virus out so loud so often. We did all this QEMU testing, and not all of this worked. This was here in testing. And by the way, I wonder, do I have here somewhere? Actually, I need to find. We somewhere started some expect testing. I actually need to check where I actually freaking stored that. But quite some of those QEMU combinations didn't work, and I made quite some progress with the usual midnight continuation of this stuff. And I figured at least some stuff out. So I got Motorola 68K, the most important freaking architecture I don't even really have, except maybe in some old printer, I don't know, but otherwise I don't really have that. It looks like maybe we can build a multi-architecture kernel, like for Amiga and Atari, the most important platforms of 2022. But also mostly there was some Motorola like 68K, 20, 30, 40, 60. That was also one thing, and so I got that to work with changing the config. So that was not that broken after all. And maybe also some others. So this is a major change. So of course not the most important, just keeping the vintage and retro stuff around here, and also modernizing this. You see here, if we, this diff, you see that replacing the static config from, I think, the Graver or so, from a year or two, who tested that on an Amiga. Or this fixed static config, and our T2 config is of course more modular of only setting the most important and then using the shared config of our Linux common blocknet file system stuff, and then some other tuning here. And so yeah, this is so win-win of not only Motorola 68K, but also other platforms. So also this makes, you might wonder, so this changing the config of course, but I think more people have a chance to have a Motorola 68K. What was it, Quadra 800 or so. And for me, it mostly counts. It doesn't even matter if there are more Amiga or more Macintosh 68K, Macintosh Linux, T2 Linux users out there. But for me, that at least I can test it in QEMU, which is certainly the biggest win-win for me. Continuing with this massive testing spree and most automated testing stuff. That is one thing. I also continued a little bit more, so you see massive changes. Also maybe MIPS. Did I got MIPS to work? Maybe I got MIPS to work, not really sure. But I also touched some other, maybe, what was it? Also Spark, what was in Spark? Okay, this was only a small thing. So the next thing I wanted to do here is, for a little bit more of a win, when we have some architectures like Spark, what AVR32, and in the future maybe even more, I'm saying 486, making stuff smaller, even theoretically PowerPC 32-bit, as crazy as it is. Previous video, IBM, like from 2 or 3 years ago, IBM, the mighty RS6000, IBM B50, there behind me on the floor. And the crazy thing is it has a freaking whopping amount of memory. Even when I got it for free, this monster, even 20 years ago, it probably was, when I got it, maybe even the machine with the most memory, as crazy it is, right? I got it for free from Claire of Rock Linux fame herself, even, of all people. I think even Claire might have gotten it for free, maybe donated. My point is, the thing was so old that I got it secondhand for free 20 freaking years ago. And at that time, this is how big iron this IBM stuff was. It wasn't the fastest with 375 or so megahertz, but it was the most memory I had, which is obviously crazy. Someone said it COVID. Yeah, unfortunately, we freaking masked, right? We were kind of the most masking people. So, little pro tip in between, freaking mask. Also, the official statistics probably way off. I guess also our cases, so all of our family, my wife, unfortunately, and kid. Maybe I got it first because I got it first. I also, unfortunately, maybe got it the most, except our kid, our 2-year-old, got it later, recovered faster, had more temperature though, but yeah, all in all, kind of. But anyway, so yeah, freaking mask up, right? They are basically, by the way, everyone I talk with, so we masked up like crazy. We avoided people and meetings like crazy, and we still got this freaking shit, right? Also, obviously, because everyone in the freaking supermarket was out mask, right? Totally crazy stuff. Just as you asked, right? Yeah, I guess I had it mild. I wouldn't say I had it. I obviously had symptoms. I was like a week in bed. Still sweating a little bit, which may or may not be seeable. Thankfully, I survived. Also, I was boosted, right? I was even freaking 4 times vaccinated, because the first was AstraZeneca, and because it is maybe not the most amazing, I had 3 times BioNTech. So in all, so freaking 4 times vaccinated. I thought I'm young and healthy, and I still got it quite a bit, right? I don't know if it is mild or not, but also our cases will not be in the statistic because we tested at home, and it makes no sense for us, as long as we are like freaking survive at home in isolation, to go to more doctors and get this test like officially registered for no, like only risking everyone more and wasting our time and stuff. So our 3 cases are also not in the statistic, right? Like probably a million other cases. Also, it was in the German news that somewhere there, doesn't really matter, somewhere that there are right now the most cases of breathway, whatever the English term, of infectious diseases, like in the pandemic last year or whatever. So they're like in 1 week 2.4 million cases, which is like more than 2% of the German population in 1 freaking week. Not all have COVID, but other, it's crazy. So yeah, mask freaking up. I do the stuff, and also, by the way, I shaved more. Like now, I'm obviously the mask. I was stupid, right? So I should have. I don't even freaking care much about my freaking beard. I knew that I read this in the beginning of the pandemic. I was stupid. I should have freaking shaved earlier, but I'm not. Like, I'm now sealing this freaking mask area freaking more because I don't want to get the shit a second time. Anyway, so the stuff. So IBM B50. Also, my brain still functions so far for some short time memory. As crazy it is, right? My point was the most freaking memory I had. 768 megs of freaking memory in 20 years ago, 2002, 3, 4, when I got this. And you can't load a kernel, at least with the way open firmware works, the setup, and Yaboot on this machine. I actually didn't even test grub yet. Share, like, and subscribe if one day I should test grub too. Don't give it the highest chances though. Probably I should do my own microkernel and hardware extraction layer. But yeah, I figured out the hard way 2+ years ago that you can't load like a Linux kernel larger than 6.5 megabytes or something. which is totally freaking crazy for a monster back in the day with 768 megs of memory, which also resulted me in like wasting hours, recurring theme, wasting hours configuring the monolithic Linux kernel of linking the least common set of features in there. And so my point is, I started here, I wanted to do this also for some years already, finally I do it. We have here this common Linux block, common block file system that, and now is the small is new, not yet committed. And what I do in the small, because this is what we often need, right? And we will need it more often as oversized, if not fatty, the Linux kernel becomes. Oh, also I think I have the video running there. So what this does is that if you want in your configuration, because I'm not a fan of this hard-coded configurations, and you don't obviously want to redo it constantly, right? So if you, for your embedded projects or other vintage stuff, need a smaller config, I will group the stuff here, which may or may not apply. So this is just some template which you may still need to override a thing or two. So also added just like from bed 2 days ago. IOU ring, because it is in the meantime one of the largest files in Linux kernel. So just also namespaces and stuff. So just like everything is just some 100 kilobytes of kernel space. But when your limit is like 4 megabyte or 6 megabyte, like every freaking 100 kilobyte count. So yeah, also BPF and stuff, right? And one thing I'm still wondering, as many bugs are in this, because single address personality kernel, what would be better than more bugs in these new features? And so in the meantime, it's probably already, also, yeah, you guessed it right. It's a freaking pandemic, because everyone is freaking running around with a mask. The pandemic is freaking far from over. As even young and healthy and careful people as I get the shit. But bugs in the Linux kernel, right? BPF. In the meantime, so many bugs are currently in BPF and now IOU ring, right? The latest and greatest feature for highest performance. That we constantly have there. There were like even, I think at least, were there already 4 CVEs in IOU ring this year already? Which yes, it is high performance. I would actually do a similar interface than IOU ring for microkernel, something of that sort, for high throughput on a freaking microkernel. But the point is also that there are plenty of bugs in there, and right now nobody's using it. I've asked this in this Discord. Maybe I'm a little bit mixed with that. I mean, maybe we leave it enabled, but actually if you are running a high secure production environment, maybe it would make sense to disable this latest and greatest feature for like 2 years, especially as you probably don't need it, right? And unless you have like a real use case for this stuff, like a mission critical use case where you really freaking need it, maybe disable all this stuff. I mean, I guess most people, I wonder if like most, like really over 90% of, I mean, certainly all home users, but even small server and enterprise, like unless you run a really specific cloud workload or stuff, like on a real elastic scale, Kubernetes, cloud orchestrated, whatever use case that is, are like 90% or even 99% of Linux users and servers and stuff probably not using any BPF and IOU ring features, so maybe just disable it until it is more stabilized and stuff. Because I guess it's not even, I mean, not that someone would use Apache, but I guess it's not even in neither Apache nor Nginx. Also, I might maybe actually continue to pronounce the stuff how I like to pronounce it, which is Nginx. This Nginx, was it even I find this Nginx rather unintuitive, to be honest. I always called it here in our German native, I always called it Nginx, to be honest. It would never came to my mind to pronounce this Nginx. Maybe for the fun of it, I continue to pronounce stuff the way I like it, and not just to trigger those people with stupid names. But anyway, I think we could actually Google that. IOU ring, is it already upstream? Is it already there? Maybe not. What is here? Maybe that is it's also older. Not sure if it's still upstream. I recently read to be added, so I'm not sure if that was Also, internet is slow as shit because it's Germany. Yes, it's planned. We have added. So maybe it's not yet done yet, as that is open. So I guess it's not in there. Which, yeah, if that would be my high performance server thing, maybe I would have added it already. Maybe it's simply not yet working. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the only reason for me is I always hate when then for a test or something, I always hate to rebuild my kernel. Maybe I leave it in because we are not some cloud thing, or maybe I should have also become a millionaire running some cloud thing. Maybe we should do that soon. Anyway, so yeah, but otherwise for the smallest. So, and then to use it, it would be Spark, Linux, disable or not disable, even open here. Maybe my brain is slightly fried after all. Or not config. That one here. So let's mute. I need a mute button probably. Oh man. Yeah, I'm not yet totally 100%ly, as you see. Part-time negative and end of. I don't really have temperature, although I still sweat a little bit. Yeah. You can't do everything. Life needs to go on. So yeah, mostly the stuff. I think that's actually it's probably everything I have in there, right? Should actually I think I copied that from there. I'm still a little bit, so if making this smaller, oh wait, this is the wrong one, man. And we could also have a smaller, right? So if we later need to make it like really extremely feature satisfied, we could make it smaller to layer on top for even more disablement. So yeah, video for all. I mean, the question, maybe we don't have that in there yet, so that we don't necessarily like maybe even mostly. I wonder, should we disable SMP in here? So Linux small, so that we leave those in there. By the way, did we have? I need to check if we had that in there. Yeah, expert. You need to enable expert, I think, for some of those options. You might even need to enable embedded to disable some other features, which we might even do later if we find out that's not enough. Oh wait, this was in. So, and then we include small here. We could actually, so let's test that. Spark. And let's copy this. Let's make a backup just there and build that and see if we get the same kconfig, just to double check this like pros. I also have here, let's get some. Not sure if this laminate is most recommended after COVID and scratching throat, but it's open for a week, so it needs to get drunk. So can't be that bad, right? We could actually already, okay, either we suspend it, run it in the background maybe, and we can already diff it because the kconfig is generated early. These other things, okay, it's changed a little bit, it's not ideal. What do we have here broken and why is this slightly changed? Why is broken on SMP set? Why did this change a bit? Also, okay, IOU ring we have done newly. Let's so that is the old. Let's diff it better. Pro tip: diff it in a order that makes sense. Slightly wonder where broken in SMP is. That's there. This is a little bit strange. Not sure. I mean, okay, did I not have that in there? Okay, I mean, the good thing is we can diff our stuff as we run this properly versioned. Somehow they're more changed than I expected it to change. That's also why we diff this stuff. I'm not really in the mood to do this kind of detective work now. Maybe that is why. Maybe I didn't had. Did I just talk about? Actually, I talked about it, right? Talk is cheap. Code is expensive. Previous video. Small, we had it right. Yeah, so SMP is not in there, so that is why probably maybe. So not really. Did I also not hit this log buffer thing in there? Log buffer shift I have in there. Let's review that again. So make it small. But preemptive, did we not have all the other stuff in there? Or like, okay, let's. Maybe I didn't have config PCI in there, not to disable PCI for other platforms. So this is why some stuff I will not put in there, because for like a 486 you might want to have PCI. So this is like generic sacrificable features like IOU ring and stuff, high-risk timers, and then other surrounding features. Actually, maybe kernel features and then like subsystem features, maybe something like that. Let's give that another try. Yeah, thanks for asking. Hope you all are doing fine or better than this, also already better. Man, first coffee since, I mean, at least I still have freaking taste. It's actually, I mean, number one priority is certainly surviving the shit, and number two, it's also a little bit uneventful and unenjoyable life. If you don't taste things for a month or 6 or something, that's certainly one of the other stuff. I mean, yeah, better than passing away, but nonetheless a little bit annoying if you don't smell or taste anything anymore. But yeah, okay, so that is already much more better. So that stuff is newer. So as a win-win, so not only I slightly wonder where this IQ work thing comes from, but that's maybe from this stuff. And also this is a little bit suspicious. Why is? Oh, maybe this is because it's because it commented out. This is this bloody new VI. I probably need to change my. I'm not a fan of this. So the win-win of all of this stuff is that we can reuse it, right? So not only we made even Spark a little bit smaller with IOU ring disabled and mem barrier, maybe even more. We made it reusable. We improved other configs. That's also 3 hours previous video of QA with system stuff, and the usual win-win. Yes, 3 hours there, not totally wasted. T2 testing infrastructure, maybe even upstream reporting of what is broken there, and then improving our config, making not only vintage and return abundant stuff better, but even embedded configs and better reusability, even more templates, stacked configs here, and what did I want? As usual, talking there, and man, coffee, how I missed it. what was it? Right, it's log shift. Log shift is there in smaller, and I probably copy and pasted that, and I'm not a fan of this VI. Also, yeah, probably copy and pasted wrong, but yeah, this is the log print log buffer in kernel, and obviously if you don't have much memory, then you don't want to waste it on the log buffer there. So yeah, there we have that. And yeah, also the recurring prototype, right? Test the stuff. What you don't test is broken. And what is broken is not perfect code. Let's just quickly check if this video is marked with all this COVID shit already as not monetized. I always hate to lose my tiny little views here to it's still on though with all this mentioning. Maybe they're not as crazy about it anymore. So we have more stuff to do. How long was that? 30 minutes. Maybe we split it here, as more split videos gives us more views and stuff. I will commit this later. Recurring prototype here, commit early, often and early. But I'm here in the release tree. This is, of course, not the super most cleanest thing to do. But due to the nature of all the complexity and all the work it would be more work now to merge this back and forth. I just test build my release stuff, and then I will commit it. It doesn't matter the most to me that this tiny little small config thing is not in the tech. It's, yeah, could do it even more professional, but whatever. So that's it for this quick video. Amazing that some people tuned in. Let's make a second coffee because I sure deserve one. And let's continue with another live stream, because why not? As long as I can speak. And update also Thunderbird. They have, with Thunderbird not being the highest Mozilla priority, they have a new long-term support release thing out there. So this might take a couple of more minutes to tweak. And yeah, hope you tune in for the two. Otherwise, plenty of old videos there in the archive. And as always, if I'm missing a week or so, you always find hundreds of previous recorded videos of interesting stuff for you in the archive there to watch and play along at home. That's it for now. See you in 5 minutes, and have a good weekend and stay healthy.